What's in a name, folks? Tonight we talk about that on a Radar Report.
Support, no DQ.
Names.
Yes, we've had many a name change and name drops. Not really.
Yeah.
So,
What is worse? So let's start with, I think, not the worst. Otis Dozovich and Tucker Knight
yeah,
as Heavy Machinery are now just Otis and Tucker. My previous assessment of this is, if you get rid of Dozovich, the name that sounds like Dozer, it doesn't make sense for them to just be Heavy Machinery anymore.
No.
It's just a name now, and fuck.
it makes no sense whatsoever.
No.
Exactly.
So I don't think that one's as bad as the other one that we're going to get to, and possibly more, but those are the two that we started off this with. What do you think about Otis Dozovich and Tucker Knight, and now Otis and Tucker?
I think they sound like a trucking company, and maybe they should come out in trucking jackets or something. Otis and Tucker
You
tugging.
are not wrong, sir. You are not wrong.
That actually sounds like it'd be a really kind of a cool gimmick, I think. But at the same time, right now, it doesn't make any sense to like have them still be called Heavy Machinery. So that'd actually be a team that would actually need repackaged at this
Because
point.
Tucker sounds like Trucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he come out with a trucker hat and he just come out like with matching vests with like their company logo or something on the back.
Otis looks like a Trucker.
Almost be like the Repo Man kind of thing where they would just come out there and jack stuff up from superstars and like leave.
Are you saying that truckers are thieves?
No, but I'm saying it's almost like a repossession kind of thing.
We need to do this show on shortwave radio and let you say that truckers are thieves. So,
CB radio, candy cane.
Cindy, what do you think about the name change for Heavy Machinery?
Well, I have a mixed feelings about that, especially the fact that since they debuted in NXT, they know by their full names, and then once they got into their main roster, they were going by their full names until, of course, every day you have to shorten their names, and with that shortened name, you know that something is not going to be right. Hell, they're forgotten during the whole Superstar shakeup, because apparently they're actually drafted to SmackDown, but no mention of Heavy Machinery whatsoever in the main roster.
Well, there was several trades that you had to find out with the short list on WWE.com.
They had the graphic of the superstars that got moved around, and Otis and Tucker were the last ones they showed. It just said Otis and Tucker. It didn't even say Heavy Machinery anymore. I think they just dumped the Heavy Machinery name in general. But now they're just two guys with two names, and that's it. So,
yeah.
I guess you actually brought this question up at one point with Kushida. Do you think they're actually going to change his name once he ever gets called up? And is that going to kill his recognition? Like, kind of like they did with Hideo Itami getting rid of Kenta.
Dude, in this vein, Kushida is just one name.
Yeah.
He's keeping that bitch for the longevity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would hope so.
There's no shortening it. They'll call him Kush. Oh, here comes Kush.
The Kush, son.
Well, pretty much me, Chris, and Noel did talk about talking about Shane Strickland, Kushida, and Garzai Jr. on the last episode of Hashtag 205 Live Matter to see if they're the potential recent WWE signing could possibly have 205 Live. But then I mentioned about which of the stars that is gonna have the name change. Kushida, however, they're gonna keep his name regardless, because that's how he is known for in New Japan. Everybody knows who he is, especially with his gimmick as well. They're gonna keep his name. But regarding with the two recent signees, Shane Strickland and Garzai Jr., you guys know Garzai Jr. from Impact Wrestling. He's gonna get his name changed. Shane Strickland, no, he's gonna keep his name. However, there's a recent report that former Ring of Honor star Punishment Martinez got his name changed already to Damian Priest.
Damian Priest.
That sounds like a badass name, in my opinion.
It's
I don't
right.
know how you guys feel about it.
I don't like it. I think it's a bullshit name.
You should just rounded it off with Priestley. Damian Priestley.
Damian Priestley. That sounds dreamy.
Mm.
Better than Damian Priest, I think.
Yeah,
That's two on the nose for me.
I was about to say, like, it's something that...
Damien.
Priest.
Damien.
Priest.
Well, I mean, if you think about Priest in the news, then it's more like Damien Priest.
Priest.
I was
Whoa,
pointing
that-
at my junk, ladies and gentlemen,
That's
because we know
horrible.
that there are a significantly too large number of priests that they encounter foul play.
Yes.
So, getting away from Damian Priest, let's talk about the names of the ones that I think are the worst.
Okay.
We're talking about not only the individual names, but the cumulative tag team name of the War Raiders into the Viking Experience. This
Such a fucking horrible name.
Ivar and what was the other name?
Eric.
Eric
and
Ivar
Ivar.
with a K.
Yeah, what the fuck, WWE?
How did you take something so simple? If you wanted to change their names, just change them back to War Machine.
I think Vince McMahon was just trying to get away from the war name.
Don't care. Don't care.
Exactly.
This is television, ladies and gentlemen.
I actually read on a feed at one point. It's like, why don't you just call them Ragnarok then?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Fuck that. Just if
And
War Raiders isn't good, then go with War Machine.
War Machine, exactly.
The Viking Experience. I really think the Viking Experience is doomed for a name change very soon.
Yes.
It is gonna happen. I don't know who approved that. Vince McMahon must have approved. Oh my God, Vince McMahon approved that. Jesus.
And on the WWE YouTube channel, there's so many dislike buttons on the clip where, and I'm gonna refuse to say the Viking Experience because forever
You
there's still
just
You
said it.
just said it.
That's maybe one last time I'll say it. I'm still gonna call them War Raiders or War Machine, not that other bullshit ass name.
Let's just call them the Vikings.
Fuck that.
The Vikings suck.
The Vikings. But this isn't football.
Yeah.
Just call them
Exactly.
the Vikings. It's not football. What do you think about it, Jerry? Oh, that obvious?
Yeah, I was about to say I dislike this about as much as Rousey, which is pretty heavy. With them, like, I don't think Vince realizes with the whole getting rid of the whole war thing what he's unleashed, because anyone that has ever read about what the people experienced from the Vikings in days of yore, it wasn't as pleasant. It wasn't pleasant at all. There was rape, pillaging, and murder. So, what are the fans going to chant now? They're not going to chant war. They're going to get over them. Experience, 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 experience. Or Vikings, Vikings. That's so stupid.
The Viking Experience. The Viking something. I think what happened to Vince McMahon is what happened to us several times when we went to name this show. It started off as the Rated R Report because, of course, it has to start with R.
Yes.
But what do you put? And report seemed like the best word that sounded like it went with it, but not necessarily the best word for what we're doing here. And that led me to remembering about the Rapport spelled incorrectly, Stephen Colbert. I'm like, what's the correct way to spell it? Because that sounds like kind of what we're doing here. Like we're having guests on our shows, and then afterwards we're building rapport.
Yeah.
But our initial naming of the show was the Rated R Report. The initial naming for the fantasy booking was the aftermatch breakdown, the aftermatch breakdown, and now that's going to be the Rated R Remix because remix sounds like it makes more sense.
Yeah.
Fantasy booking remix. So I think that's what's happened here. They came down to the wire. What the fuck are we going to put there? the Viking what? The Viking what? And somebody said, experience? And they're like, go with it. Just get it on the screen because they're about to come out. And then they came out as the Viking experience.
They probably went like this. And just threw a dart at the board and boom, experience. That's what we get.
They threw the dart at the dictionary.
Yes. But, okay, so in that same vein, which name change for you has actually worked for someone? Like if they got repackaged or whatnot and brought into the company under a different name.
I don't know about repackaging, but I think Cesaro losing Antonio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't necessarily. I don't think it necessarily was the reason why he got booked better, but he ended up in better circumstances after that, all the way up until probably the top of his career was the tag team with him and Sheamus as the champs.
Yeah.
What, 4 or 5 fucking times?
Yep.
Rusev.
Oh yeah, because he did chat too. One name that one name that actually kind of worked out for me, and I didn't think it was going to because I'd built such a rapport with the guy from OVW and everything, was Ernie Idol Stevens getting turned into Damien Sandow. For some reason, Damien Sandow was just a really cool name.
I hated the name Damien Sandow, but the transition from the name, but the character as well, from Damien Sandow to Damien Mizdow.
Mizdow was great.
That was the name change.
Mm-hmm.
It really worked for him. It's a shame that there was a shelf life to that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't long enough. I don't think that what they gave us, but there's still a shelf life.
That's a gimmick, one of those gimmicks that we were talking about the other night that we kind of wish hadn't ended, really. Because we were having a lot of fun with that.
No, I'm kind of glad it ended. Because at some point, Damien Sandow as Damien Mizdow becomes the person you want to see succeed. But you can't have them succeed and remain Damien Mizdow.
Yeah.
He can't remain the stunt double if he ever succeeds on his own.
Yeah.
But he's so good at it, you want to cheer for him, and you want him to succeed on his own. So it ends up being a bummer. Just this cyclical bummer.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's got a shelf life. Eventually, he has to succeed on his own, and then I guess the mentor gets one over on him, and then he fades off into obscurity.
So, Cindy, what do you have name wise that you thought was pretty cool or
Successful?
Kana to Asuka. That's all I can think about because when Asuka debuted in NXT, she was known as Kana, and that's what she goes by in the Indies and throughout Japan. And then when they changed her name to Asuka, at first I thought it was like, okay, interesting, how's it gonna work? But then she was like, what, the longest reigning NXT Women's Champion?
Mm-hmm. I think the only one's actually relinquished the belt just to go up to the main roster.
Mm-hmm.
So, would you say? I think there's a couple here that could be fairly obvious, from Mike Mizanin to The Miz.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Brian Danielson to Daniel Bryan.
Mike Bennett to Mike Kanellis.
No, that has not benefited that much. I don't think anything has benefited his career, honestly.
Yeah, that's cool.
Nelly Maria did.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
What's that?
Always a bright side. Nail and Maria Kanellis.
But I guess we'll just go on to the next topic here.
Okay. I've got one for you.
You got one. Cool.
So everybody's glazing over this just because I think other than Roman Reigns getting drafted to SmackDown, the superstar shakeup was extremely underwhelming.
Yep.
But nobody is talking about the fact that SmackDown now has both of the mid-card titles.
Yes.
The North American Championship is on Samoa Joe, who is still
That's
on
the U.S. Championship.
Mm-hmm.
The United States Championship is on Samoa Joe, who is still on SmackDown. He wasn't mentioned at all on either episode, Raw or SmackDown, of the Superstar Shakeup.
Finn Balor still has the Intercontinental belt.
And he got drafted to SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
So now, what the fuck do they do from here? Cindy?
merge the title. That's why I said it on the No DQ live reaction chat on this past Tuesday.
No.
It,
No. Bad Cindy. No merging of the titles. We need another answer.
Okay, you ask her opinion, and you tell
No,
her
bad
her
opinion.
opinion is fucking wrong.
Bad opinion.
SmackDown have like an acquisition. I mean, shit. Look at the Iconic.
Do you realize what that means? Do you realize what that means? If they merge the titles, then The Miz will not have the opportunity to tie Chris Jericho for 9 times as the Intercontinental Champion.
Mm-hmm.
And it should be in the bigger picture, like a universal title in the near future.
Just that is one of the many consequences of merging those 2 titles. There are a few bonuses that people like to look at, and I think those are short term. When they talk about having fewer titles and champions that can go from brand to brand, I think that is going to be interesting for a short period of time. Long period, if the brands are going to remain single entities and separate, they need to have separate titles. The only exception being the women's tag team titles, because there are not enough women's tag teams in the division for those titles. When there does happen to be enough women on both Raw and SmackDown to have their individual divisions, then I could see one of the brands hogging the titles enough for like the SmackDown brand to make its own women's tag team titles. I could see that happening. But as far as merging them goes, all of the little, because you got to think, you have 2 pieces of props that have storylines built into them because they are the championships and people want those. You merge them together and now you only have one. Mm-hmm. And what do? Do you merge the U.S. title into the IC because IC was there first and WWF produced the IC title?
I'm about to say, the IC belt's got a lot more lineage to it, I believe.
But I think why would they put preference over the Intercontinental when you're talking about the United States? That's where we live. They may be in Stamford, Connecticut, but Connecticut is the United States of America, is one of the United States of America. It's funny how we don't really have a name, because America is talking about all of that.
Yeah.
You have North America, South America, all of America. Big America. We are just
Big America.
We are just 50 states that are united as a country, so we are called the United States of America. It's a description, not a name. Our country does not have an actual name. If you actually watch this shit, maybe every now and then I'll blow your mind. So, where was I going with this? Why would the IC title take preference over the US title just because it's WWE or WWF lineage when United States is the fucking United States? Yeah. So I think if they merged them, it would just be a completely different name.
Yeah.
Something that like universal, like
transcontinental.
Something, something that,
and it'll be the tranny belt.
A word that encompasses all of it. That is below world, because you do have your world championships.
Intergalactic championship.
Or just television title.
Television title, yeah. Well, that's also what I thought
No, you merge them, and that's when you bring back the European Championship. Merge the Intercontinental and the United States Championship, and somehow you get the return of the European Championship. There you go.
For some reason, Vince would come up with that, and it would sound brilliant.
No. Oh, what you do is you just bring back the big gold belt. You have your WWE branded title over on Raw that's red. You have your WWE branded title on SmackDown that's black. And for the mid-card title that goes in between, you bring back the big gold belt, the one everybody loves. And just call it the big gold belt. Oh, what champion are you? Oh, I'm the big gold belt champion. There you go. That's free. You can have that, WWE.
Oof.
If they did that, I would be so perplexed, but so happy at the same time. And I guarantee you, Jeff Meacham would feel the same way. I think he has the same love.
He'd
for the
be
Big
all
Gold Belt
over
as
it.
I do. This, to me, is just a perfect championship. It just looks.
Yep.
It is anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It does not fit perfect though, because this plate, the original WCW style, is flat, and well, I don't know. I've lost a lot of weight. I bet it might actually fit me now. But problem is, you got to buckle it or snap the buttons on front and then turn it around.
Yeah.
Well, when it's tight enough to like be how it's supposed to look, you can't turn it around because this is flat and it won't go over the side like that. So you have to have somebody do it for you, or you just don't do it.
Yeah.
And it's super uncomfortable.
I bet.
But this is the title. I would be fine with that. Call it something, whatever, but bring that back and I'd be fine with them merging it just to see that again.
Right.
But otherwise, no, don't merge the titles. But, yeah, so we've got 2 of them on SmackDown now. What do you do, Jerry?
Oh, well, naturally, since Finn Balor, really hasn't debuted yet, go ahead and have him have that last
Yeah, he
match
did.
on. Well, even have The Miz call him back for one match.
Or maybe The Miz chase Shane McMahon over to SmackDown. Something where The Miz gets the title, sure. Because The Miz is on Raw now.
Yeah.
And I was happy about that because the Intercontinental Championship was on Raw and it looked like it was staying.
Yeah.
And then Finn Balor fucking shows up at SmackDown and I'm like, no! No, because now The Miz can't win a 9th title.
He needs to do it, and he needs to do it, if anything, just to appease McMahon at this point.
He's got to do it before they finally give him a second run at the world title.
Especially since he's going to be on the USA Network, too, like The Miz is. So it only makes sense for him to have a belt.
I think that's one of those reasons we should have predicted The Miz getting drafted to Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Because come October, SmackDown is going to be on Fox. And so The Miz needs to be on the brand that houses his reality show.
Yep.
So yeah, that was a big red flag right there, or not red flag. Just obvious.
I think that's the reason why it's
metaphor for obvious. That's what it was.
That's the thing I think going on with that is the fact that The Miz, everybody's expecting The Miz to go over there and beat Finn Balor and take the belt, but at the same time, McMahon's like, aha, twist. Like an M. Night Shyamalan movie, we're gonna move Finn Balor. So what are we gonna do about the belts? Fuck the titles. We don't say belts here. So
Cindy, if you're gonna merge the titles to avoid having 2 mid-card belts on SmackDown and none on Raw, what's your plan? I'm willing to hear you out here.
Shit.
How would you? Because you've got Finn Balor as the Intercontinental Champ and Joe as the U.S. Champ. Is that going to be the match, just them 1-on-1 for the belts, or are you gonna have the belts move around to people that you would rather see in a title versus title match, or a unification match? Because personally speaking, I don't want to see Finn Balor with Joe for a title versus title match. I would much rather see Braun Strowman versus Joe.
Yeah.
Or maybe AJ Styles versus Finn Balor.
Mm-hmm.
I have an
that
idea.
Would be a dope match.
I have an idea, and I'll go ahead and let Cindy think for a second, because I know you kind of stunned her with the question. You do that to me a lot too, which is cool, because I like fantasy booking. I like doing that kind of stuff. You've seen me do it. What if Finn Balor is in the ring, cutting a promo or something, Lars comes out there, beats the living shit out of him, and he's got to give up the belt. And they automatically give the belt back to Raw because, Finn Balor's unable to do it, and they have to return.
So if he's got to give up the belt, have some sort of tournament or something to get it, but Joe's in the tournament.
Yeah.
And Joe wins it and unifies the belts by default.
Yeah.
Why the hell would you do that? You're talking about not unifying the belts.
Well, I'm trying to help Cindy out here. Trying to make sense of that idea.
that works too. But at the same time, I'm saying if that's the case of how to move the belt back to Raw, that's the way of doing it. It's like Finn Balor got, as most of you saw, Finn Balor got into a SmackDown. He's not doing okay, but looky what we got.
I also feel like that's a much better story than just I'm a champ in the mid card on the same show as you. You're a champ in the mid card on the same show as me. Let's fight each other, and winner keeps all, and we call it something else. That story is the easiest way to tell that idea. The way you suggested, where I suggested that Joe just naturally ends up getting the defaulted title.
Yeah,
I like that better because it shows that he's just that good of a champ. Like Joe gets that kind of rub. Something Joe could use anyway.
Oh yeah, Joe's still kind of a disappointment for where he was back in his Ring of Honor and even TNA Impact X Division days. Like since he got the, I'm going to say, call up to NXT and then the call up to WWE, how long did it take? That's another NXT call up that took fucking forever for it to happen.
Too many injuries.
It's the fact that they also seemingly didn't know how to package him, and his first shirt he got looked like crap.
Joe looked so great in most of the stuff he did on Raw, especially with Brock Lesnar. They knew how to work with him. He got these little injuries, just too many of them, and they would take him out for just long enough to miss fucking WrestleMania and shit.
Killed for its aim momentum he was building.
I think Joe can do just fine on Raw.
Oh yeah,
not so much on SmackDown for some reason. I don't know how to use it.
I would still love to see Shayna Baszler get brought up. Those two get put together in a mixed match challenge, and they get the win, and they each get a title shot. I think that would be wonderful.
I think they need to tell this story where somehow Joe ends up absconding with the title and quitting SmackDown and joining Raw.
That works.
Joe really needs to go back to Raw, and I know I'm depriving Raw of the Intercontinental Championship and the Miz a potential 9th championship run.
It would be pretty epic if the Miz was able to pull off the win on Joe.
You've already switched the Intercontinental title to SmackDown. You don't put it back on Raw. Somehow you figure out a way to get the U.S. title onto Raw, and I think Joe just quits and leaves with it and goes and signs a contract for Raw.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works because you're quitting the McMahon family to go over to Raw and sign with the McMahon family. There's no individual owners of Raw and SmackDown. They're two individual separate companies, but are owned and run by the same, 4 or 5 people? Any ideas, Cindy? How would you deal with the titles? How would you merge them?
Have a tournament. Yeah, how fucking nice thing. Tournament to indicate who's going to be the one that's going to chance for one of the titles. It could be either both brands. But this is going to be a dumbass idea. I'm thinking Shane McMahon probably going to change one of the titles, mainly the Intercontinental title. That way, if he challenged Finn Balor for the Intercontinental title and he beats them, then the title will be back to Raw, and then Shane versus Miz for the IC title. Like I said,
can see that.
That actually kind of worked out too.
Here's my best idea yet.
Okay.
You leave.
Wait for a second. Now the notebook comes into play.
You leave.
I'm going to pretend to take notes.
You leave both the United States and the Intercontinental Championship on SmackDown in their entirety. They are 2 mid-card belts being defended on one show. And Raw now gets the European Championship. And, by God, hopefully, the Hardcore Championship.
Oh, man.
If not that, then maybe you can cancel 205 Live and move the Cruiserweight Championship to Raw.
So
I'll be cool with that. I mean, most of the cruiserweight guys will get their opportunities for Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah.
You could create a television title.
The TV title idea just sounds more plausible at this point.
But anyway, Raw gets 2 mid-card titles as well. And we have more titles, and I am happier.
Mm-hmm.
I like titles. Titles have storylines built in. You say, well, people get lost in the shuffle because there's too many titles, and then everybody's got a title. It's like, not everybody's got a title. There's 100 fucking people in this company.
Yeah.
And it should, like 100 men probably alone. So you've got 2 world championships, 2 mid-card titles, and 2 tag team championships, which are 2 people apiece. So that's 9 champions. You include the cruiserweight title if you want to. And that makes, that's 8 to 10. Anyway, my numbers are not so good.
Math is not good at this hour.
I'm actually really good at math, usually.
Yeah, usually.
It's terrible. I'm just terrible with dates.
Oh, yes.
And names. I'm not good at history. So, there's not actually that many championships if you consider adding just a couple of more. Not everybody's going to have a title, but titles have storylines built in, so you can do stuff with more people. That's my argument. I love more titles.
Mm-hmm.
But arguably not a second set of women's tag team championships. There's just not enough tag teams yet.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not opposed to adding more and more women's tag teams and eventually having 2 sets.
Yeah.
All right, what's our next topic?
Well, we were talking a lot about the NXT pool just being drained at this point. We talked a lot about that on the State of NXT address that you and I did last night. That's now available on Aftermatch Wrestling. And one of the notes that you made in the video specifically was the fact that we really wished that we had Cindy here, the Queen of the Indies, because we're wondering, who would you bring up from the Indies at this point to fill this vacuum at this point of like all these wrestlers? Who should WWE have their eye out for? Or NXT or Triple H in that manner?
We have 10 spots.
10 spots,
11
really.
people got moved up to the main roster recently, and the only person that's come in to fill one of those spots is Kushida.
Yeah.
So we've got 10 more spots. And we don't know any United States indie wrestling. Like, the only people I've heard of are like the British guys that Ollie and Luke talk about on Wrestle Talk.
A lot of Thatcher talk.
And those guys go to NXT UK. So American, Canadian, like North American wrestlers,
Okay.
we want to turn to you because you know indie.
It's in your name.
It really is.
Yes,
Holy
it's
shit.
crazy.
So we're talking about independent wrestlers that is well known.
They don't have to really be well known. It's somebody that maybe you've seen in the ring, maybe repeatedly or whatnot, that the people that are watching right now may not be familiar with, or
Yeah,
us
talking,
even.
We're talking guys that can come and fill in spots that have been left by Aleister Black and Ricochet. Like, not just like indie guys that are everywhere and they're good, but we're talking about indie guys that
Stand out like
stand
crazy.
out, yeah.
And we're also talking about indie guys that has recently signed.
Well, if you know of spots that got filled on NXT other than Kushida, yeah, bring those up because we don't know about those yet.
Yeah.
Absolutely. More than happy to do so. Alrighty. And we're talking both men and women, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. We need some
And
more
tag
women in there
teams.
too. And tag teams if you got them.
Okay, so...
The floor is
Okay.
yours, Dutchess.
Okay. 10, we're definitely going to be Kushida, well-known in New Japan Pro Wrestling, known for his time splitter gimmick, former IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion,
Alex
but lost to Taishi Ishimori at Wrestle Kingdom 13. And speaking of which, the next person in mind, I feel that once he's done with New Japan Pro Wrestling, he's probably be going to WWE very soon, and I could maybe see that happening in all in his favor. Depends. And he's well known in Ring of Honor. I'm thinking Rocky Romero.
Oh, Rocky Romero would be a cool addition to NXT. I really think so.
That's right. As of right now, he is managing Roppongi 3K with Sho and Yo. And he has like a pretty much a successful solo run in Ring of Honor before as well, but
As part of the No Remorse Corps with what was it, Davey Richards and Roderick Strong.
yes, that's right.
I remember shit.
Alright. Number 8, it's gonna be someone that is a recent signee for NXT months ago, and she was wrestled in Ring of Honor before, and in the Mae Young Classic, Karen Q. That's right. Known for her intense high flying skills, and especially her kind of like her technicality. She's very spot on. Known for her matches against Karen Q and Stella Gray. I mean, not Karen Q. Kelly Klein, formerly known as Mary Elizabeth Monroe in Ohio Valley Wrestling. Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She definitely will bring like a spot to it, and she could possibly be a potential tag team partner to Zaya Lee as well. And then 10, 9, 8. Number 7, definitely someone that is recently signed to WWE. He's doing a performing center. I've seen him recently. You guys are familiar with him in Lucha Underground. If you guys watch Lucha Underground briefly, Shane Strickland.
Shane Strickland was good.
Shane Strickland.
He was over in Combat Zone as well for a while too.
Oh yeah, with his high flying ability, and he has a good like potential to be like the next member of 205 Live. I could tell, but highly unlikely. But we'll see. So 10, 9, 8, 7. I'm on 6, right?
Yeah, I'd say 6.
6. Okay. Number 6 is going to be someone that is like a very up and coming star that. He is very well known in an independent wrestling circus. However, last November, he got injured. And he was out for at least a couple months, but he's going to make his in-ring return like around in July. And that person is actually going to be Marco Stunt. Even though he looks like a kid, but he's actually 21 years old.
Mm-hmm.
From what I've read. And everybody praised him, from like Joey Janela to Cody Rhodes to the Bucks and so on and so forth. I keep referring to a kid. I can see like he will make it into NXT for his charismatic, his in-ring ability, and his dedication. Number 5, let's see, number 6. Yeah, number 5 is actually going to be a female wrestler, which I can potentially see her going to the WWE once her contract is up from Ring of Honor, and that would have to be Kelly Klein, the gatekeeper. Known for her matches against Simi Sakai, to Stella Gray again, and as of right now, she's going to be start building up a feud against Angelina Love, Velvesite, and Amanda Leon, known as as I call it, the Beautiful People 2.0, but they're now called the Allure.
That's cool.
She's a current Ring of Honor champion. She definitely will bring the kind of like a carrier to the NXT Women's Division. But who knows? And then number 4, let's see, number 4, I'm going to think of one person. Oh, former MMA fighter that he's making a name in an independent wrestling circus. Everybody praise him. Filthy Tom Lawler. Tom Lawler.
No idea.
No clue.
See him in action.
Smile nod.
It was a smile and nod.
Yeah. Tom Lawler, man. I freaking love
Awesome
him.
talent.
Of his gimmick. But the only thing I complain about is he should not be partnering up with fucking Brian Alvarez. But that's a whole different story, but whatever.
That Brian Alvarez.
Yeah. But Tom Lawler, like recent reports saying that he is the next up and coming star in all around WWE, and also having like a huge potential, because like there's a lot of like talent scouts going around giving high praises to Tom Lawler. Number 3, I'm gonna bring someone from Canada, and he's making a name in the United States as well, and that would be Kobe Durst. He wrestles, I believe, like in the early 2000s, up until last year, where there's a report that with his matches at AIW to Black Label Pro and freelance wrestling and so on. There's like a lot of potential in Cody Durst. And I've seen his matches a couple times when I was in Canada throughout the whole 2017. And he is like one of the brightest stars out there with his in-ring work. He can play out as a good babyface or a heel, but preferably I like him as a heel, but I digress. I can tell that he will definitely will do good in WWE, to say at least. Number two, I'm actually going to be drawing a line with when it comes to independent wrestling, and I'm bringing out a female too, Alley Cat. That's right. Known for her pretty interesting cat lady gimmick, of course. And
it's not like an old lady cat lady. She actually dresses like a cat.
Just like a cat, yes. Pretty much. Alley Cat, she has a unique character, but she knows how to bring out any type of situation. She wrestled like different intergender matches, teams, and even hardcore matches as well. Definitely, she will bring like more of like huge high caliber. So, and yes, of course, she is engaged to MJF. But I digress. I can remember why you don't
MJF
like
is
MJF
awesome.
or like fucking care about. But you know what? I digress. But yeah. And then lastly, number one, it's actually gonna be number one, someone that actually stood out to me the most, and especially throughout the independent wrestling circus, and he's an openly gay wrestler, and that person is actually Jake Atlas. However, he did have a tryout at the WWE Performance Center under his real name, Kenny Marquez, and known for his in-ring ability, his stage presence, his charisma, a lot of high praises from everybody else.
We saw him.
I feel like Jake Atlas is definitely going to make an impact for when it comes to independent wrestling, but then to the main roster as well. But I know there is going to be like, a question that will he be treated better as what WWE treated Darren Young when it comes to booking and whatnot. I mean, we're in this day and age where like, everybody's accepting everyone.
It's totally progressive. Gay men get treated just like all the other men. They just get paid like the women.
Yes.
But overall,
nice.
I'm so sorry to both gay men and women for that joke.
No, you're not.
But I think it's probably true.
Support, no DQ.
I've got a few people that I think that NXT should bring in. I want to go with the women's division first. I've got one person I can think, and it's not really an independent necessarily because she's former WWE. Caitlyn. She was in the Mae Young Classic. She would be a good person to come in, and she's got instant credibility to go to the main event of the women's division. But at the same time, she's there to put over the new stars.
Yeah, very cool.
She's somebody that you don't think is getting drafted to the main roster again anytime soon, probably. She's just going to stay there and be an NXT fixture, much like Cassius Ohno.
Oh.
My other idea is for something that so far you didn't give us, Cindy. I mean, you gave us plenty of men, plenty of women, but no tag teams. So I've got an idea for a tag team. They need to bring back one of our favorites, Eric Bugenhagen.
Yeah.
And then partner him with someone that they bring in from the indie scene, Joey Ryan.
Oh my God!
Now, I know what you're going to say. You cannot put Joey Ryan's penis moves in an NXT ring. And I will agree with you that they are going to have to severely tone down his style. But those two together, I think, would look great, and call them the Airbangers.
Oh my God.
That's just gold right there.
The Airbangers.
Seriously.
I think that is great. You splice the line between headbangers and airbangers sounds like hairbangers because they're hair bands, and that's Bugenhagen's music, plus the word bangers, spell it with a Z, and that kind of hints at Joey Ryan's whole shtick.
Yeah.
So, sorry for ruining the joke by explaining it, but
Dude, it sounds exquisite, is what it sounds.
I was a fan of my own nuances, so I figured I'd boast a little. So, do you have any ideas, Jerry, now that we've talked for a minute, other than my fabulous tag team?
Well, I figured you'd have more than just, two. So.
All right. So, time to move on to the next topic.
Yeah.
I've got till 5.
That works.
That's our way to lead into the next topic. Is we've got 5. So, since we've got Cindy here, and we are talking indie wrestlers, we figured we would talk about the top 5 indie acquisitions that WWE has made, either through NXT or just straight to WWE. We're not talking about guys like Samoa Joe or AJ Styles. We are talking about guys, and I'm going to tip the hand here for one that I'm going to add to the pile that we vote on. If nobody else does, Daniel Bryan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, he came up from ROH as well, so did Samoa Joe and AJ Styles. They both started out there. Actually, Samoa Joe started more in Ultimate Pro Wrestling at the same time as John Cena did in California.
They still went through TNA.
Yeah.
And TNA, for all its faults, was still a television broadcast.
Yeah.
And I would not call that independent. So, who else are we going to add to this list that we're going to go vote for the top 5?
Or he's going into WWE, pretty much like anybody that's brought in from the Indies to WWE.
Yep. If you know for a fact that Stone Cold came from the independents to WWE,
everybody started off in the independents
and not through WCW.
So,
oh, I could say Kevin Owens.
Ooh, good one.
That's a good old Kevin Steen.
Might as well put Sami Zayn in there too.
El Generico. Because Ring of Honor, as big as it is, like, it's still, for me, it still has that indie feel to it. It really does. So, we'll go with those two. Let's see.
I want to add a woman to it. Becky Lynch. She wrestles in Shimmer and other independent wrestling company as Rebecca Knox.
Yep. That works.
Seth Rollins, formerly known as Tyler Black.
Tyler Black.
So, Dean Ambrose.
Yep. John Moxley was already going to be on my list.
Mm-hmm.
Notice a lack of a third member to a certain group that's got the name of something that police wear on their shirts. All those words just to avoid saying the Shield.
Yeah, very good.
I said it.
I said it. Oh, I said it.
You know what? I don't think you would include Roman Reigns, though, would you?
No, because he went straight
to
to
Indy.
No, I wouldn't.
So, let's see.
I know.
What's that?
Let me think. Shinsuke Nakamura. He wrestles in New Japan.
Oh yeah, there we go. Even though they've kind of fucked that up lately.
Oh yes.
Pretty much.
Cesaro.
Oh, Claudio Castagnoli. Yes.
Yeah.
They've actually, weirdly enough, I know they probably could have done more with him, like so far, but I think there's just a slow build with him. Until somebody starts screaming that they need an Italian champion. And then they're going to make a big freaking deal about it and give him the belt at WrestleMania.
So we got to go with a couple of obvious ones here. We've got John Cena and we've got Batista.
Yeah.
I don't think you include Randy Orton. I think he's made that obvious in his feud with AJ Styles.
Yeah.
He did not come up through the Indies.
He was like, he pretty much went through OVW and then just went right into the main roster.
Well, he went into OVW with the expectation to go straight up to the main roster.
Because he's Bob Orton's kid.
Kind of like Cody Rhodes
Yeah.
did, which is why we're not going to include Cody Rhodes.
We're not going to include Cody Rhodes either.
Oh yeah, I gotta add also Natalia. She wrestles in the Indies before
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
at 99 Hard. Like, who else?
Okay, if we're going to say her, Beth Phoenix naturally, because she came out of Canadian independence. And then she went into OVW, where I've got pictures with her and Shelly Martinez when they're teaming up for the longest time. And
yes, I remember.
They were great together. And she's now a Hall of Famer. You can't really beat that, really. I don't think you can.
Did we put Asuka on there yet?
Oh yeah,
No.
that's kinda.
Everybody's starting off in independence somewhere.
Bailey as Davina Rose. She's very well known in my area. And she did wrestles in a couple of independent wrestling companies in the States too.
That's an impressive list already.
And I hate to say it, Jerry. Fuck it. Ash Sasha Banks to it. She wrestles in the Indies as Mercedes TV.
Yeah. Well, so, I've never really had a problem with Sasha as much as I've had a problem with her title reigns and whatnot. But that's something we also mentioned, Save NXT address. Available on Aftermatch Wrestling.
Yeah.
The Hardy Boys.
Oh yeah, Omega Championship Wrestling.
Yeah, you're wrestling, duh. Okay.
I'm trying to think super indies to a point where it's like almost territory. Like God, it's tough.
Buddy Murphy, he wrestles in the Indies in Australia. And you could include Tony too. Drew Gulak. That's good.
I was about to say, Combat Zone Wrestling Train.
Yeah.
Oh!
Finn Balor.
Okay, yeah, definitely
Yeah,
Finn Balor.
Japan.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was about to say, we're just going with WWE main roster, correct?
Yeah.
All right.
At this point.
Yeah.
Lita.
Ooh, yeah, Lita.
Yeah, she wrestled at an Indies in Mexico.
And also, she came up from one of the biggest independent companies in the world, ECW, as Miss Congeniality.
We can probably go ahead and circle Lita.
Yeah.
Because as far as the women goes, I mean, if she's not at number one, she should be.
Yeah. She came up big.
We could probably also circle Daniel Bryan.
Yes.
That's easy.
The guy was king of the independents, and sure enough, now he's like one of the kings there. So
I would say Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose are probably up there. I don't know if I'd circle them just yet. There's a lot of good ones.
yeah.
A lot more than I thought there'd be.
Well, if I had to choose, weirdly enough, if I had to choose between Jon Moxley's career as an independent wrestler, and then Tyler Black's run as an independent wrestler, I would actually still choose Tyler Black because he wore the Ring of Honor title before he came up there. Jon Moxley, he won the Combat Zone Wrestling belt maybe twice. The Full Impact Pro belt, I believe, once. Dragon Gate title once. And I'm pretty sure he did some stuff in Evolve in Progress as well, but he never really matched the success that Tyler Black had because he was actually getting nationwide TV exposure on Wrestling Society X, as short-lived as that was. That was also another indie company that folded up extremely quickly. But if I had to choose between Moxley and Black at that point, especially with his intensity and everything, I would actually go with Black on that one. So I think Black should make the list.
Okay.
He'll be like pretty much right in the middle there.
Seth Rollins, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
For all that black talk.
So, Tyler Black. Seth
all
Rollins.
that black talk. Black talking me.
Yeah.
Okay. That's like a play on the word back talk, by the way.
Yeah, we got it.
Just in case. I'm trying to take a peek at this list.
Oh,
Instead of
wait.
making you read it out
Well,
loud.
I can go ahead and run through real quick. Like, the ones I really got because we started just listing them off like crazy. Drew Gulak, Buddy Murphy, Daniel Bryan, Kevin Steen, El Generico, Becky Lynch, Tyler Black, John Maxley, Nakamura, Claudio Castagnoli, John Cena, Natalia, Beth. You can't say John Cena.
You gotta circle John Cena. Go ahead. That's number 4.
Well, I'm about to say, like, even though he started off with Batista and Samoa Joe in Ultimate Pro Wrestling, he also did Chaotic Wrestling with his dad in Boston. So yeah, he came up a long ways. So I was about to say, if we're gonna be going,
Other than that, we've got what? Natalia, Beth Phoenix, Asuka, Bailey.
let's
Sasha
add
Banks,
another woman
the
because
Hardy Boys, and Finn Balor.
we've got John Cena, we've got Tyler Black, we've got Daniel Bryan, we got Lita.
We also don't have a tag team, and the Hardy Boys are probably iconic.
Yeah, they even had their own company, and like,
I don't want to throw in another girl just for the sake of throwing in another girl. Are any of the women on that list a bigger moneymaker name, championships, time spent on the brand, and like the Hardys? Got to be the Hardys.
it's kind of a catalyst, but or like, bad word at this point.
Didn't the Dudley Boys wrestle in the Indies before?
Dudley Boys came out of ECW though.
Yeah, the ECW is pretty big, so I would actually go one other person, retired naturally, but at the same time came up into WWE as a rookie or like from the independent scene, really big. Punk. Punk started off in IWA Mid South.
Wow,
came up a long way.
Who's bigger than Punk? Yeah, he definitely beats the Hardys.
I was about to say CM Punk started.
Well, no, wait. They're still around though. We're talking about the best acquisition for WWE. I would say Punk doesn't even belong on this list.
Current roster. That's the reason why I left him off, and that's why I said kind of threw his name out there at the end.
Because even Lita's retired, but she's probably got a Legends contract.
Yeah.
So in the end, we've got the Hardy Boys, John Cena,
Tyler Black,
Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
This guy, Daniel Bryan, and Lita.
Yep. I think it's a pretty solid list.
I think that's a pretty good. We've got 5 right there.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
So, what's the main event? Do we have any more topics?
I'm fresh out for the evening. I think we did really good with the name changes and everything else.
The main event slipped by us. That was the main event. Somehow I've got 5 ends up, or we've got 5 always ends up the main event.
Well, it's also about 4:00 in the morning.
Yeah, it's time to wrap this
Yeah.
up. Yeah, we don't have to work tomorrow, but I bet Cindy does.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good Friday.
So it used to be casual around here.
Yeah.
But now we've started doing the plugs on everything. So Cindy, where can we find you?
NoDQ.com/Cindy. That's going to take you directly to my Twitter page. Follow me, simply_C_OK on Instagram. At YouTube channel, number 1, simply_C_OK. Second YouTube channel with my friends at Tyson Poppy Production. Both channels are on hiatus because we are busy with school, work, they're busy with life, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us on this episode of the Rated R Report. Yeah, that's what you've been watching, folks.
And I'm going to say this right now. She is still the only female member of our NXT. And our reigning Dutchess.
Not for long, though.
Why say that?
Because Chris has a friend that's...
we still haven't heard anything else from her.
Oh, I'm sure it'll come around eventually, but whatever. I'm happy with our team. I'm just looking to expand.
I love our team.
Speaking of expanding,
yes.
If you would like to join us on the big screen and do a Rated R report, or help us review something, or do a Rated R remix where we'll fantasy book something, or just help us review a future episode of NXT UK, come have a spot of NXT with us. And come do an NXTea party. You can find me on Twitter. Go to nodq.com/Stefan. That's STEFAN. Or if you just want to find me on Twitter, it's at Stefan R. Osborne, OSBORNE. As always, the R stands for restricted. You can also find this gentleman on Twitter.
At No DQ General, and also in my Facebook group, Armbar, all capital, ARMBAR, exclamation point. Having a lot of fun in the group. Got one of our moderators on the screen, the administrator sitting next to me, and the founder talking right now. And find one of us, we'll get you in the group. As long as your favorite wrestler's not Ronda Rousey or Yes, we'll probably let you in.
So,
and see the video of Jerry singing Baby Shark.
yeah, there you go.
Oh my god.
So if you
like
like our...
Cindy, I'm getting my revenge for that one, but yeah, we'll save that for another day.
I don't know why you make bets when you know you're gonna lose.
No, I mentioned it last night, dude. The next predictions video we do, I'm bringing a freaking coin. Probably the old Two-Face coin, like the one that's got like both heads, but it's gonna have like the scratched up head on the back. Yeah, that's gonna be heel face.
But it's all about cut points. You have to do better on a regular basis.
Yes.
So
And I do poorly on all of them.
If you like our video, you should click the like button. That's underneath me. If you like all of our videos, you should click the subscribe button. That's over there underneath the piece of tape that has scooted back that we marked off for the subscribe button.
Right there. Usually
somewhere in here underneath the mug-ish area is a share button. And you would be doing us a favor. Share us with your friends that like wrestling. We want to talk to people about wrestling. And we are on our way to 100 subscribers. So subscribe to Aftermatch and click that bell icon. It'll let you know when we get to 100 subscribers and go live with What's NXT on Thursday morning about 1 a.m.-ish. Come and watch the show live. Leave us some questions so we can answer them at the end of the show.
Yep.
And leave us in the comments down below here if you do not have Twitter, if you do not have Facebook. Leave us an email address so we can get a hold of you. All you need is Skype and to watch NXT UK. Or if you just want to have a report.
Take a couple notes.
A report we could do just about any fucking time. Like we could wake up early and do a report.
Yeah.
For a new member of the NXT team shit. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you for joining us for the Dutchess, 1/3 of the ladies of No DQ, Cindy G.
You're very well.
For the General, Jerry Slaughter. I am the Wizard of No DQ, Stephen Osborne. See you next time.
Cheers, y'all. Bye.